Hello and welcome to Limitless Speaks. Limitless is a loving community of young adults who are passionate about being Christ representatives in their generation. Here at Limitless Speaks, these young men and women come together to discuss various topics that we as Christian young adults and young professionals face in our community today. Through these conversations, we aim to relay the mind of Christ and how the one truth of the gospel still stands today. We hope these episodes sprinkle a little laughter, encouragement, and wisdom to your day. Most importantly, we pray the Holy Spirit speaks to you through these conversations. Limitless Speaks, transforming minds one episode at a time.
And welcome to another episode of Limitless Speaks, where we discuss topics that are relatable to young adults and young professionals. We'll hope that you will learn a thing or two today as we are discussing time management. This falls under our current ongoing segment of self-development. My name is Lydia, and today I'm joined by...
Hi, my name is Precious.
And hello, I'm Joshua.
Lovely. So today our topic, as we've said before, is time management. So we're just going to delve a little bit into what it means to manage your time well when it comes to things like uni, when it comes to work, church, and we're going to touch a bit on priorities. So let's just start and we'll talk a bit about ourselves. So let's introduce ourselves, Precious. What are you up to with uni?
Okay, hi. So I'm currently a third-year law student. English and Scots law. Don't know how to mention that in there. I was like, let me just let you know that it's soon.
Extra work.
Yeah. And I'm also a sprinter, so I aim to train 5 times a week. Those are the times my training is scheduled. I also do a little bit volunteering every week. I also have a part-time job as well. Part of Limitless, different departments in Limitless, and that's just...
Name a couple of departments.
The choir, the podcast, and events. I think that's it all, actually.
Okay. Yeah. So Joshua.
All right. Yeah. So I'm Joshua, like I mentioned. So I currently work, although I'll be heading back to uni for a course pretty soon.
I'm
a part of a few departments as well. Obviously, Limitless Speaks, the technical team, and the visual design team. I also do quite a lot of freelance IT stuff, so that eats up a lot of my time, a lot of my time. So between either clients or my own personal project, there's always something pulling me somewhere. So
and then also you do a lot of work in the main church as well.
Yes,
so
as
it's both of the churches, a lot of work's going on. So I'm Lydia. I'm also a third-year law student. I only do Scots law. I don't think I could balance English law. But I actually study in Edinburgh, and Limitless is based in Aberdeen. So it's the coming back and forth is a bit of time. But yeah, we'll get into it now. So with uni, this is one thing I was going to say. What is one thing that we wish we knew before going into uni, or what is one bit of advice you're going to take going into uni again now?
How I prioritize things. I feel fair enough, with time management, you have to prioritize, but I never really prioritized myself, so to speak. So it's always, okay, fine. Either I'm putting this coursework or putting, whether it's even service in church or going to help a friend. But I never really created time for me. So that was quite a big one, because you get so burnt out, so stretched to your limit.
100%. We're going to touch on burnout actually, but Precious.
Yeah, I think if the advice I'd give to myself if I was going back to uni going back to the start, don't join every society. Don't do it. Because I was in I was doing a lot of things, and at the end of the day, it felt like I wasn't doing anything because there was no consistent result, or there was no result I could say, cool, this is what I achieved here. That's good. Because I was just moving about. So maybe also choose an extracurricular activity as in terms of a sport you want to play. It helps a lot with helping you balance everything you're doing during the week. It's just a time for you to just come, relax yourself, play around, just get your body active. So I wish I actually did start my sprinting thing with my team when I was in first year. In terms of society, pick the ones. You can either go for the ones that are activities you just want to develop your skills, talent, or you could go for stuff that are related to your actual degree that could help you network and find people and opportunities.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm going to touch on the extracurriculars as well. She's skipping a couple of parts. I was like, but definitely one thing as well, you guys have heard the common phrase, like, this semester I'm going to take uni seriously, like, or this semester I'm going to be on top of uni. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The one thing I would probably say as advice to myself if I went back into first year is discipline. Is like, to be on top of it is really a mental thing. You have to actively work to be on top of uni. Like, there is so much going on. We're about to touch on uni. We're talking about church, extracurricular work. There's ways to balance these things. And we will actually talk on something controversial, which is this balance of, can you have a good work life, uni life, and a social life balance? Do you know, let's just do that one now. Do you think it is possible to balance uni work, social life, and like work? So like making money.
No.
That's just immediately like,
so.
immediately no.
No.
How come?
No, I mean, something's got to give. Because at the end of the day, there's just one you trying to do three things at the same time. Personally, I think that in terms of setting my priorities, I've had to kind of put friendship at the bottom. So I have lost a few friends. I have lost a few connections. Like, there are times that I'm not there, literally. But I just know what I want to do. I know what my goals are. And yes, it's always good to have people. And which is why, obviously, the phrase quality over quantity is really good as well. So if you have that one person, that's sufficient. You don't need like a whole social
Squad.
Yeah.
A whole classroom.
So yeah, and I don't. In my opinion, speaking about myself, I have not been able to do it.
Yeah.
What about you?
I actually think you can. It
I'm
depends
on that.
Fair enough. It depends on quite a few things, how social you are and what type of work you have, because obviously some works are a lot more demanding or more tasking. But like I think the best way I would do it is, first of all, like it sounds so mean, but like reduce the number of friends I interact with. That's just the easiest way. Or at the very least, maybe rotate them. Maybe I see this person
This person in
this
March,
week, yeah,
that one in April.
For your friends, a rota, yeah.
You know?
yeah. Then I don't know. Try not to have works that like or any kind of thing that takes too much time in terms of work. I know it's difficult because
Exactly.
sometimes you get what you get in terms of work. But like for example, I'm in IT, so because of a lot of freelance stuff, like I can sort of work flexibly with my time.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's a lot easier for me
Yeah.
from where I stand. But I definitely think even with other types of stuff, you can. It's just very hectic. So you may not want to, but it is possible. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, I was actually going to say, is it smart to work as a student? I mean, we kind of touched on this a little bit. Personally, I do think it is possible to do uni, to work, and to maintain some form of social life. I mean, we are beings, we need people. The Bible literally talks about it. We can't go on this walk of life alone. We also need, like, iron sharpens iron. We need these people around us to kind of be sane. You can't just be in your own box, uni work. You need to have those times where you relax and you sit and you talk to people and, you wind down. But is it smart to have a job? This is what I was going to say, like, and maybe I'll be a bit more specific. As a uni student, is it smart to have a part-time job that's like set hours or, that type of thing?
For me, I'll say it solely depends on the financial situation of like you and your family. That's the only thing that matters for me. If your family can afford it, I would say just avoid it. But if not, then maybe get one. Just because as a uni student, it's never nice to be broke.
Yeah.
It's
not.
such a hassle.
It's
so if you can't afford it, then definitely get the job. It's a bit more stressful, but it's much more stressful being broke in uni.
Oh,
like,
100%.
yeah.
100%. What about you?
Yeah, I think it's okay to have a job in uni. I think it also depends on the type of person you are, because I do all these things, but I also do have a part-time job. And I manage it well. And another thing for me, I have student loans, but my student loans cover a certain amount of the important charges or important bills that I have to pay, and then the money I get from working, I can use that for like other things, like going out with friends or like investing or whatnot. So if you can handle that, by all means, it's an experience to also have. I think when it comes down to you getting a job in the real life, it's something that you can tell your employers, look, I was able to manage uni and at work as well.
Yeah.
And, you know, I kept a good grade and I kept a good performance at work. So if you can,
Yeah, personally, I think as a student, it is so important. I think in first year, everyone always kind of tells you, like in first year of uni, it's like, oh, this is your time to just like focus, make your friends, do those societies. But I think actually first year is the time to get a job, because like if any time to have a job and to get into the flow of the routine, it is first year. I was changing job this year, like in third year. Oh my goodness, the hecticness, like it's just so much stress. Because I think the further along in uni you go, the busier you get, and you're gonna have to drop something. Like you're gonna have to like be, and this is what we're actually gonna touch on. I keep saying we're gonna. Maybe I should just do it now. But it's this thing of priorities. But work, you really have to cut down after a while, because with uni, like, you know, you have to manage your time. Yes, I kind of want to go in a way of, so uni, work, extracurriculars. Are they smart to have? We're gonna touch on each thing. Is it smart to have extracurriculars? Do you think it's vital in your uni experience, or even as a young professional, is it important to have like those things that you do out with work and out with uni, also out with church as well, like?
Yes, like straight up yes, and I'll full stop at the end. Because it's, for example, in terms of my experience, like after a long day at uni, reading endlessly, like when I go to training, it's a moment and a time for me to just either distress myself or like, it helps me because like every time I finish training, I don't think about what I was thinking about. Like I come back to thinking about what I was thinking about. I cannot think properly and I cannot think straight. So it's good for your health. It's good for your brain function. Like your brain can't constantly just be doing letters, numbers. You need to chill. So I think it's important to have at least something that gets you away from those demanding things.
I agree with that as well. I know the main goal of uni is like, you know, get your degree and stuff, but there's still a lot of other things that you go for. So I like extracurriculars like adds to that. Like you can learn new skills. You obviously meet a lot of new people. Like you don't know, you might meet lifelong friends from there as well.
100%.
And as well, like you mentioned earlier, it also looks good on the CV. Like I was in uni and I was involved in all the other things. I wasn't just like hiding in some corner, getting my results and going out. Like I could diversify and do a lot more things. So
exactly,
I'm 100% with her. Like extracurriculars are the way to go.
Exactly. And like so for me, like you mentioned sport, like I do cheerleading. We do it about like 2 times a week. And for me, I think it is just that perfect time in which there's a scheduled break and you're actually having fun, you're doing something new, you're exercising, you're getting your endorphins. But I mean, sometimes it's sport, sometimes it's art. Like people have their thing. And I think extracurriculars are definitely vital, because in this like long list of I've got this, that, and the next thing to do, there's almost like, okay, but in this I've got a scheduled break of fun. So I think having that commitment almost now makes it mandatory for you to relax, if that makes sense. Because I think sometimes we don't really give ourselves a break as uni students. Like, we're kind of just like, oh, I've got 1,000,001 things to do. But, you know, as you said as well, like when you're training, you've got that kind of like, I can think about that later. It's so important to have those like releases. Next section, it's the same question, but here we go. I think this is almost the most important one, is about managing your time when it comes to like, okay, church and serving. So, attending church and working in church, how do we balance that as uni students when it comes to serving? I mean, especially Joshua, you said you do so much with like IT and all those things. Now when like things are getting a bit much, it's like, how do you balance everything?
So I think the first thing I'll say is, first of all, from the church's perspective, they are very tolerant. Like they always like put your school first. Like if you need to skip a session, if you need to be relieved from this service group. So the church, like they are all like, look, focus on what's important for now. There's a time, a time for everything. Like it says in Ecclesiastes 3, there's a time and a season for everything. So they are very like, so it now goes back to you. So from my end, fair enough. I'm in IT because I've been doing IT my whole life. Like a lot of the things I learned in uni, like I already knew them beforehand. So, so that helps me out. That helps me out. I could still be kind of strongly involved, whereas because I already know like what we're learning. But there did come times where it became overwhelming, where I had to like take a step back, maybe tell my leader, okay, fine, I'm feeling the pressure a bit much, so I just need some time to myself to first of all recover, then focus on my studies a bit. So I would still be involved from time to time. If there's like a huge emergency where no one else knows what to do, then I'll step in. So I would advise, like, if it gets overwhelming, step back, say I'm still available for tight situations. Maybe it's like a big event and they need someone else to sing or need someone else for the drums or someone to man the technical area. Like, you step in for like the big events where they need extra hands. But for like the general day-to-day, just take a step back and focus on your studies.
And this was even something I was going to ask is, so when life gets a bit busy and when there's a lot going on and like, you're like, oh my goodness, I'm so stressed right now, something has to go. So we've listed everything. We've listed uni, we've listed work, extracurriculars, social life, and now church and serving. And most importantly, the serving, because we can attend on a Sunday, but there's a lot more that goes into serving. There's the rehearsals, the practice, the training. When you are now feeling, the pressures of life, what is the first thing that you're like, you got to go? You have got to go. Like, for a couple weeks, it's you. What is that thing? Like,
It's training, actually. Fun fact, I haven't been to training for the past 2 weeks now. So, I mean, I don't know how I can say this. I actually like running. I like sprinting. Weird. Every time I go into do it. No, but like every time I go into it, I'm like, I'm actually just here to lose my breath, be tired. And
there's a thrill. There's something about that you're just like, yeah.
There really isn't. I'm not going to lie to you. I like the sport. But I think that's the thing I can sacrifice and it wouldn't have a negative impact on me because like serving is something that if I let go to get back up or like to reconnect, it's a lot. So I can't risk that. I can't even I can't even think about that. So it has to be extracurricular activities. I would just use that time to sleep. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Like sometimes rest. There's a time for rest. Yes, Joshua. What is the first thing?
Maybe not the best one, but it tends to be social engagement. Not intentionally, but just sort of.
Nobody talk to me.
Yeah, I just thank God for understanding friends. I just tell them, look, I'm really overwhelmed with like different stuff right now. I can't really be that social. Like, oh yeah, that's all fine. Like whenever you get back up, and then as well if you take too long to get back up, they're like, okay, are you okay? Is everything good? Like so. It tends to be social engagement. It's not intentional, just sort of how it plays out. I wish there was something else, there's something I could cut out. The only other thing I could say is I try my best to avoid being church. I know sometimes church there can be a lot of things back to back and it's overwhelming. But like Precious said, once you lose that steam, it's so hard to get back up. I remember when I was like 18 and I was so like very on the ball. Then I took like a few months off and even right now I'm still struggling to get back to where
you were back.
Yeah. So it's one of the lessons I learned the hard way that once you lose that steam, it's not easy. Other things take up that time and space you had kept aside for like church and stuff. So yeah.
And that's always what I'm saying. Like when life gets a bit tough, I'm always saying to my friends in sports, I'm like, if it's either I'll meet you guys outside of the sports or I come to the sports, because it's like I'm not about to sacrifice something else. And I think we all know as Christians, our relationship with God is it's vital. It's so key. You just don't want to risk anything to do with that. The Bible literally says, seek first the kingdom of God and all these other things will be added. I think the most important thing is you have that open communication with God, being like, God, I'm struggling right now with all these things. Help me. I think, I'm glad none of you said that, when I'm stressed out, I'll just message the choir leader, like, I'm not coming. Do you know what I mean? But, like, likewise as well, like, when it comes to serving as well, there's sometimes you kind of need to be like, okay, I'm doing a lot. How do you identify when you're on the brink of a burnout? Like, what is something that you can kind of use as these are telltale signs of I'm kind of doing too much?
For me, from a personal perspective, is when I start getting irritable from small things that I would do beforehand without a problem. Let's say, for example, you're always the first one to church to set up and stuff, and you've never cared, but then today you're like, oh, where's everyone else, or maybe mistakes that you've been telling people, okay, fine, let's sort this out. Then today you're getting started, okay, fine. If this is starting to bother me, it means I'm starting to get stressed.
Like there's something going on underneath.
So that's how I do it. Like if I find I'm starting to get irritated by things that weren't bothering me before, it's like okay, I think I'm getting to my limits.
Exactly, and I think like one clear sign of a burnout is like constant exhaustion. It's like you can maybe wake up in the day, you've got nothing planned, but you're just like, do you know? Like you're just like, no, I can't do anything today. Like, what about you? Is there any clear telltale signs? Like, okay, I need to take a break.
See, I'm praying for that spirit because I am so different because I always feel like I'm not doing anything or I'm not busy until my my friends are like, oh, let's do this. I'm like, nah, I actually got that. They're like, okay, let's move it to this. I'm like, no, I actually got that. Then they're like, let's move it to this. I'm like, no, I actually got that. And like when they start listing the amount of things that I do, I'm like, who doing that? It's like a wake up call, because it's like, oh, I'm actually that busy, but it doesn't feel like, I'm busy or I'm doing enough. So I'm always going. Like, I don't think there's rest. Like my friends are like, precious rest. Or when they see me when they see me in the library, they're like, bro, take a break. Like the essay's due in 2 weeks. But it's just me that, I think it has to do with, my upbringing in terms of like, I wasn't really aware that there's something called a burnout or there's something called this. So it's like, it's whatever you're feeling, cool, get over it, keep going. Like, not necessarily don't pay attention, but it just wasn't a thought that I grew up with, that you have to stop when you feel this type of way.
You kind of push through it.
I just like get through it and keep going. And I think that's what has,
made you build the capacity to kind of like deal with it.
But then I think now becoming more aware of, my mental health, like it's helping me now, because I remember I went to London a few weeks ago. When I came back, in London, I was barely sleeping, but I came back Saturday. I'm not gonna lie, I made up for every single day.
Every single hour.
I was there for 5 days. I slept for 5 days. I slept at least like 10 hours. But I think that was just
8 hours.
Yeah. But then I think that was just my body saying that you can't do this. Yeah. So I think I'm praying for the spirit to say stop right there, right now. Yeah. But right now it's my body's like time out.
Exactly. And I think that the most important thing is, we can identify these things, but how do we even avoid them happening in the first place? I mean, I don't usually start, so I'm going to be like, I'll start. But usually I think that one good thing, I was speaking to Precious about this earlier actually, is having a day, because I know some people actually can't identify when, okay, I'm burning out or I'm doing too much, is having a day every single week where you do absolutely nothing. And I say this to my friends all the time, and they'll literally just be like, I can't grasp the concept of doing nothing in a day. Like, I have to do something. But it's like, our bodies need rest. Like, we are human beings, and it's like, we want to do 1,000,001 things. And yes, maybe we have the capacity, but it will catch you somewhere. Maybe it will catch you in June, or maybe in December, but it will, And then you'll be like, everybody, I need a week away. And there's nothing wrong with having a week out, but I think that having that constant flow of something to look forward to, like everybody says the weekend, but I feel like now at the weekend I'm like doing choir, I'm doing this, and so I'm like, the weekend's not a break. But you just really need that day where you're like, I can look forward to that day because I'm not setting an alarm. I'm going to sleep. Do you know what I mean? Like I will sleep. But what are some other things that you think help avoid a burnout? Or like help you find a good balance between, because we've spoken about work and all these things, but rest. Where do you find the time to actually like sleep? Do you guys feel like you get an 8-hour in the night?
Not much. but for me, I feel what helps me is social engagements, but with the right people. There's some people who you meet them and they just drain all your energy.
100%.
So with the right people, because like I feel there are certain people who I know if I go visit you, I'm gonna laugh, I'm gonna come back, recharge, like fully ready to go. So that, for me, that's one of the main ones. I know I tend to cut out social engagements when I get too busy. But recently I've learned that, okay, fine, this is what keeps me going. So I've been trying to prioritize it a bit more with the right people. I can't stress that enough, because there's some people you just don't want to meet, like when you're just drain all that's left of you.
You have to know the people to block. It's like, I'm not doing anything for you today. I'm sure I'll be one of them. I'm like, Joseph, can you help?
So people who give you a good laugh and who motivate you as well. If they have something going on, at least for me, if they have something going on in their life, like it inspires me. Like, oh, look, I also want to get something going. So when you come back, you're coming back with energy, with psych of I want to move forward in life. I want to
that people that motivate you to do, like definitely. What about you? Like, what is something that you're on a constant English that you have as a constant that provides that rest, that break, and that helps you kind of maybe avoid burnouts, or even just advice you would give to other people, like how to avoid?
I would say first, like the extracurricular activity does help, not gonna lie. Especially like activities that don't require you to think. Like just like if you're playing a sport, I know like mental like thinking about what you're gonna do, but if like sports that just get your body active and going. But another thing that really, really has helped me, it's the Bible. And I feel like that's the one way I can connect with God. Or it's like, it has covered so many things. Like it's helped with my prayer life. Like I actually feel good when I can pray and my prayers make sense, or like the words are just aligning very well, and I'm praying like accurately. Or one of them ones where like you've been going through not so like a bad day or so,
Yeah.
or like a bad week, and then you open your Bible and you read something about it. You're
That
like,
just comforts you.
So
Like-
that it's like the best thing ever. So extra quick tweet, but that Bible is up there.
100%. Talking to God, like 100, like, and I was even going to talk about like one key thing is like being so honest with yourself. I was going to say we make to-do lists. I mean, as well as making to-do lists and like being like, I want to achieve this much in the day, committing it into God's hand, he will help you. But then it's also this thing of being honest with yourself and going easy on yourself. Like, there's so much to do, but it's not every day. Like I if I don't do all these things, oh my goodness, like I'm a failure. Do you know what I mean? It's like, be easy on yourself. Don't, one of my friends always says, treat yourself how you would treat your friends. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, if your friend is coming to you, like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing the next thing, and you're just like, take a break, precious.
Take your own advice.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, sometimes you need to actually assess, okay,
Yeah.
I do a lot. I can take a break today. Do you know what I mean? It's like, be honest with yourself and only really set to do what you really can. Don't ever like, don't set too much and overstress yourself. But I was going to say, you know, when our last section now, we're in the last little few minutes, what is some advice? I mean, I've said advice about burnouts, but like even just managing time in general and prioritizing things. Any advice? Little...
I'll go from the angle of prioritizing things. When you have to cut things out for time, try to avoid it being church or God's work if you can. Because I feel as if when you have that genuine heart, there's always a way. Like
Key.
I've seen testimonies, and I've had the same testimony in my life where my work will walk around my church schedule. Like if they put me on a Sunday on a Wednesday by mistake, like, oh, we're so sorry we didn't mean to do it. Whereas other guys are getting fired for refusing to do a Sunday shift. So just try to avoid it being church. If you have that heart to serve God, like there always tends to be some sort of way to make it work.
Exactly.
Well, an advice I would give anyone in general: stay in school. I'm joking.
Focus on your work.
Focus yourself. Focus yourself. But I think first of all, build a relationship with God.
Yeah.
Because the end of last year all the way to this year, my relationship with God has been so good that a lot of self-reflection in myself has happened as well. Like I'm, seeing the way I act, like in every situation, interaction with people, I always, know that I can only control myself, my emotions, and like the way I'm out there. That's made me so self-aware. So build relationship with God, it does cover everything because it gives you knowledge, wisdom. It helps you see things the way other people don't see it. It gives you so much patience. Like a prime example is, for example, we all come from like African home.
Backgrounds,
When your parents were teaching you what's 4 + 4, you didn't know the answer, but they weren't really patient with you. They were like, what's 4 + 4? What's 4 + 4? So it's one of them ones like we all grew up.
Not my mom. I was like, I don't know.
My mom really was. So we all grew up with this level of patience that we don't when we're teaching people, we don't we expect them to just get it. And I remember I was teaching my granny how to use her phone and Googling that, and then she would be like, she would do it right in front of me, and then 2 minutes later she can't do it, and I'm just like
precious.
But then I realized she's not doing it on purpose. She's not she just doesn't know, and we're not gonna get anywhere if I talk to her rudely or this. Just say it again, and it's really helped me because I'm a lot more patient with people, more understanding as well. So I think above everything is God first, because it would truly help you even with uni, work, internships, this, that. God, everything else, it helps you move forward with it, honestly.
And that's something I can testify to. It really pays to serve God. And I think a lot of my friends in Edinburgh will be like, you have got so much going on. Why are you going to Aberdeen right now? It's like, this is not the time. And I'm literally just like, no, because I need to be serving. I need to be doing, and there's serving opportunities everywhere. But it's the number one thing is your relationship with God is just vital. It's just everything. All those things you've talked about when you're stressed and when we're wanting to do these things, we have to voice it out to God. And one thing that I just love about God, the one thing about my guy God, is that you can sit for ages and just be like, oh my goodness, I'm stressed about this, I'm stressed about that, I'm stressed about this and the next thing. And he'll listen. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, that is the one relationship that is not up for grabs, you know? So I think when you really set your priorities, God first, and then you really have to think about, okay, the future, you've got like your uni and stuff like that. So, you know, when it comes to time management, just think about the things, the longevity of it, the things that are, what will impact you in the future? What can you not do without? I can't do a week without my relationship with God, because that will impact me in 5 years. But I can do a week without sprinting. But you know,
2 weeks actually.
do you know, 2 weeks without sprinting and you're fine. We'll see when you go back. But some other vital things as well with time management, maybe with like other things, is get a planner. Sometimes, you know, it depends on what type of learner you are. Learn what type of learner you are. Are you visual? Do you need everything written down out of your head? Do that. Have accountability. Like, you know, today I want to do this, that, and the next thing your friends will be like, hey, did you manage to get that done? Did you? Yeah. And just like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, well done. Even as well for your friends. What are your plans today? And be that person as well for them, to encourage them, uplift them. And then, you know, someone said get the reminder app on your Apple phone. They said if you don't have Samsung, to use a pen and paper. But the reminder app, you know, is also a good one. So here's some practical tips for you when it comes to managing your time. So I hope you've learned something from today. We've really gone by every little aspect of life. We've gone through uni, we've gone through church and serving, priorities, burnouts. And, you know, there's always this platform. We're always here if there's any more questions or anything that you'd want us to touch on, that you can always reach out to us. There is our YouTube, which is probably where this will be streaming on, YouTube, Spotify, and we've got our Instagram as well, where we're always open to questions or even just anything, even if you just need people to pray with you as well. So yeah, we're always open to feedback, and I hope that you have enjoyed listening to this podcast, and I pray that you've taken something from it, you've learned something that you can share with your friends. So God bless, and have an amazing rest of the week.
Bye.
See you next time.